Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I will be providing my book review for the second manga volume in the My Hero Academia series. I, just a few weeks ago, reviewed the first volume on the channel, and my overall quick thoughts were, I liked it, I enjoyed it, it was lots of fun, and it had some really compelling character moments and themes. But as a whole, it wasn't a perfect experience because I thought some of the action was weak. I thought some of the drawings, some of them were great and some of them were just not well thought out. And so I didn't love the artwork in there. And I also thought that the action scenes just lacked good cohesion and good understanding for the reader. And so I gave it like 4 out of 5 stars. Then I picked up Volume 2, read it tonight. I read it all in one night. It was a very quick read, a much quicker read, I think. Volume 1 had longer issues in it because it was like a 60-page issue or a 30-page issue, whereas this one had way more issues, but they were much shorter. So they progressed through really, really quickly. And what I really liked about this book was the pacing. This is a much faster paced book than the first one. The first one had to establish the universe and the characters and everything, so it had to take its time getting to know them. This one, you already know everyone, and so you're just, boom, going along. And you're still learning about people. You're still getting to know characters, but this one, you are just plowing through, and I enjoyed this one so much. I think this is a much more enjoyable book than the first volume. Part of what makes the pacing so great is that the action scenes are interspersed through all the issues, and yet it still has some great character moments in each issue. This is not just action for the sake of action. It's all very purposeful. It all fits within the storyline, and you're still not only getting to know the main 2 or 3 characters in the class, but you're really getting to know the whole class and the teachers and the leadership at the school at UA Academy. You're getting to know everyone, which I just think is wonderful. On a related note, along with the pacing, what makes this book so good is the action. The action is done so much better in this book than in the first book. I still have a few issues with the action relating to the last couple of issues. I shouldn't say issues when also issues mean the individual chapters. You know what I mean. I have problems with some of the action in some of the later issues of this volume. Nailed it. But overall, the action is much improved over the first volume. The action in this one, particularly in the first few issues where All Might is a teacher and he has set up this training course where you have 2 heroes and 2 villains, and they each have their own kind of capture the flag situation, but with a nuclear bomb. And what makes this this situation so great is that you have to see our hero work ostensibly against his nemesis. That is which is what this cover shows. That's a very important moment to show so early on. But I think it shows a couple of things. One, this is letting the audience know that this has high importance to the series, but it also shows that this is not the end-all be-all. This is not going to be one of those series where the end of it is just the main hero fighting his old villain, which I think will occur later on in the series. But what this shows is that somehow they're going to have to work together eventually, and it's going to be super hard for them to do that. And so I like where it's going in that direction. And of course, the villain, or not villain, but the antagonist, he's just, I think his name's Bakugo, he's just the worst. He's just so frustrating. He's like Draco Malfoy, except he's not as good looking as Draco Malfoy, let's be honest. And so I was very frustrated with that character in a good way, which I really liked. You also got to see our main character work with other characters and work against other characters, particularly Ida, who is not particularly a bad guy. In fact, you kind of see him as a really good guy, but he has to work with Bakugo, and you see that doesn't work out really well. But my main 2 characters in this book are All Might and Ida. So All Might gets some point of view chapter or issues in this, which I thought was a good change of pace and also a really good way to expand the storytelling. Because we get All Might's perspective, we see that aged hero who is having trouble keeping up. We see that that leader who's trying to pass the torch and feels that the next generation isn't ready yet. Part of my issue with the Harry Potter books, particularly books 4, 5, and 6, which are some of my favorites, my issue with it is that they don't go enough into Dumbledore's perspective as he's trying to help Harry out. I wish we had a whole book devoted to Dumbledore during the Harry Potter years so that we could see Dumbledore's perspective on why it's so hard for him and him getting older, his hands getting frailer. I feel like we're getting that with All Might, which is something we didn't get with Dumbledore, or even to bring in another reference, Yoda with Star Wars. We haven't really gotten to see much from Yoda's perspective. Yeah, there's episodes with Yoda in them, but not really inside his head like in a book. And so that was really fascinating to see All Might. And he has some, of course, funny moments in this. That's not just pure deep character work. You see some funny moments between him and the principal, which I kind of got us a few laughs at, as well as his moments with the press, or the press trying to get to meet him, and stuff like that. So All Might, of course, he's always fun, he's always funny to read, and he always has this deeper meaning behind him. I also really liked the character of Ida, because I'll be honest, I didn't know where he was going. You know, at first I thought he might be kind of a villain. He kind of seems a little stuck up. And there are moments where he's kind of bragging about his family. And I was like, oh, he's one of those people. He's kind of, hoity-toity. And then all of a sudden, he does the most selfless act super quick by doing something. I won't spoil it. And all of a sudden you're like, really? And then it comes up to help him later on. And I was like, was he just being strategic? I don't know whether he was a legitimately good person helping out our main character Deku, or if he was just being sly and knew it would gain him power. I don't know which one it is. I'm hoping it's the former, but if it's the latter, that's pretty Machiavellian. That's pretty cool. And so he was also very much a standout character. We don't really necessarily see point of views from him, but he gets a lot of attention in the book, which I really liked. There is a group of villains who show up towards the end of this issue this volume that lead into the next volume. That they do seem exciting. They do propel the story forward. They are advancing the overall narrative of this manga. I just didn't find their fight scenes engaging. I didn't think that the action was drawn as well. I think it was too chaotic because he was trying to tell too many stories all at once. And so I feel like he kind of bit off more than he could chew. If he had maybe reduced it to just a handful of villains and maybe sent one villain against one group of kids, and it would have shown that how powerful that one villain is and how inexperienced these kids are. Instead, you sent groups of villains against groups of kids, and so it felt more evenly matched, and it felt like the kids were really strong. And I'm like, yeah, the kids are strong, but they should be so inexperienced that even a bunch of them can't take out one adult villain. So that felt a little bit off towards the end, but it was still entertaining as a whole. It was still engaging at the end, and it propelled me in that I have volume 3 and I'm going to read volume 3. So it did its job in that respect, and so I highly entertained that part of it. So I really enjoyed this book. If I'm going to give it out of 5, I'd give it 5 out of 5. But if I'm going to give it 10, because I usually do out of 10, I'm going to actually give it a 9 out of 10, because it has a little bit of legwork it could do. But still, an excellent volume, significant step up over volume 1, and I hope that volume 3 is just as good, if not better. I will definitely be keeping going with this series. This has hooked me on this medium of manga. So if you've read this volume, let me know your thoughts on this volume. Do you like other volumes in this series better? Do you like the character of Ida and All Might, or do you have another character that stands out to you? Let me know in the comments section down below. Please subscribe. I have these videos and other videos coming soon, and videos that have already come out on the channel. Please check them all out. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.